English, press 1. Para español, for EBT, press 1. Enter your PIN. Your SNAP balance is $23,235.
Those co-conspirators then used the stolen credentials to fraudulently obtain EBT terminals for unapproved businesses, including smoke shops and other retailers not authorized to accept SNAP benefits.
Can you say food stamp fraud? 3 times. Food stamp fraud. Food stamp fraud. Now, recipients are forced to reapply. Millions, 42 million people are forced to reapply for food stamps. Why? Because of major food stamp fraud that has been taking place.
Yo?
Yeah.
You do your job. So somebody puts an EBT card in there, what do you close your eyes? You don't look?
I don't know.
Well, what do you know?
So the reason we're here is for your food stamp machine. You don't have a license to take food stamps here.
But I didn't have the machine.
That white machine on the counter is a white Valor point of sale machine. You're gonna tell me it don't do EBT?
I didn't have any machine.
You're sure? Why don't you call, you got your phone, call the owner. Tell him to come on down, we're gonna have a little chat.
And then the extension that they had connected to it.
We'll look at it and see what the AMR is. But if it was in, a small store could generate $1 million in illegal transactions in a year without difficulty at all.
So this is becoming very popular.
Yes, unfortunately it is. How long have you been taking EBT here?
I didn't have any EBT.
You don't have EBT. Your sign says you take EBT and you got EBT machine on the counter. And we sent somebody in here earlier today and used EBT.
I don't know about that. I worked them at HICKORY. I didn't have any EBT. I didn't work. I didn't know about the store. I guess.
You know, they're doing a disservice to the legitimate stores that are out there by bypassing the authorization process, and it allows them to commit other crimes using EBT and go undetected.
Hopefully it's a message to the community that we see the fraud that's going on with the SNAP benefits and EBT benefits, and also it's a message to the community that, hey, there are people there out here, the service, our partners with New York City Police Department, USDA, that care about you, that are going to investigate these crimes. And it's also a message to the folks that are doing these crimes. People are coming for you.
What we do today and the totality of the operation, you know, since the beginning.
So the 39 million is the totality, I'm assuming.
Yeah, those are estimates that.
So this acts as the pin capture, as we have on the point of sale. But instead of getting the keylogger strokes, as you put it on your point of sale terminal, it will take video. So as it's sitting on the video, looking down at the pin, it's gathering video and it runs constantly. So if you're putting in your code, 1234 enter, it's entered on the camera device. Bad guys will retrieve this device, download the video, and then they'll pull out the skimming device that is inside the card reader. So that will sit in the card reader when you input your card. So it'll fit right on the bottom. So when you use your card, acting the same measure as this, as you're swiping through here, except you're getting the data on the deep insert skimming device.
So for those who are saying, oh, I want my food stamps back in November, they haven't given me my food stamps back yet in November, well, you should have already gotten them back if you're going to get them. If you haven't, you're probably going to have to reapply. And if you have gotten them, they still going to make you reapply. Why? Because they just did a major bust, okay? A major bust. And we're going to call this woman the $66 million woman. Why, you might add? Because that's about how much she stole. And who was this woman that was able to steal $66 million worth of government assistance? Sounds like an inside job, right? Because it was. She worked for the USDA. She worked in the fraud department.
Police charged a U.S. Department of Agriculture employee and 5 others in a fraud and bribery scheme that prosecutors say defrauded the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, also known as food stamps, of $66 million in unauthorized transactions. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York called it one of the largest food stamp frauds in U.S. history. Prosecutors said Michael Kehoe, who is of no apparent relation to Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe, led a New York-based network that tricked the government into issuing about 160 electronic benefit transfer EBT machines to businesses that were not eligible to have them, including smoke shops and other ineligible businesses. These businesses processed fake or illegal transactions, totaling more than $30 million in EBT activity, which is against federal law. Prosecutors also charged Arlasa Davis, a longtime USDA employee who worked in the division responsible for detecting and stopping SNAP fraud. Authorities accused Davis of using her access to the USDA's internal systems to steal EBT license numbers. They allegedly used these numbers to conduct more than $36 million in fraudulent SNAP transactions. Davis allegedly took photos of handwritten lists of valid license numbers, meant only for qualifying stores, on her personal phone and sent them to her co-conspirators. Those co-conspirators then used the stolen credentials to fraudulently obtain EBT terminals for unapproved businesses, including smoke shops and other retailers not authorized to accept SNAP benefits. In exchange for her role, Davis allegedly received bribes disguised as innocent gifts, such as birthday gifts or flowers, according to the U.S. Department of Justice. Statement from U.S. Attorney Michael Kehoe and his co-conspirators misappropriated tens of millions of dollars in taxpayer funds meant to help low-income families put food on the table, U.S. Attorney Perry Carbone said in a statement. This fraud was made possible when USDA employee Arlasa Davis betrayed the public trust by selling confidential government information to the very criminals she was supposed to catch. Their actions undermined a program that vulnerable New Yorkers depend on for basic nutrition. These charges should be a reminder that those who exploit anti-poverty programs for personal gain will be held accountable for their crimes. Michael Kehoe, Mohammed Nawafle, Omar al-Rawashde, Gamal Obaid, Ahmad al-Rawashde, and Arlasa Davis are all charged with 1 count of conspiracy to steal government funds and misappropriate USDA benefits, 1 count of theft of government funds, 1 count of misappropriation of USDA benefits. If convicted, each faces up to 35 years in prison. In addition, Davis faces 1 count of conspiracy to commit bribery, 1 count of bribery, 1 count of conspiracy to commit honest services, wire fraud. Those additional charges carry up to 40 more years in prison.
She's facing 75 years in prison. For what? Girl. This woman stole, I'm going to say allegedly, just for entertainment purposes, but she was arrested. Multiple counts. The people that was in on it with her, maybe 5, 6 other people, maybe more. They got multiple counts, but she got the most because she did the most. But she ain't the only one. We have someone who was actually on TikTok. She was just arrested, I think, for $35,000.
Okay, I see a lot of people asking for story time on how I owe them $35,000 now. Okay, so I live by myself. I'm single. I don't have any kids. So I've been applying for food stamps like 2-3 years ago. I lied on my food stamp case and I told them I was homeless, and I told them that I didn't have anything. I was homeless. I didn't have nowhere to go. Blase, blase. And I told them that I wasn't working. So when I first started getting my food stamps, I started getting like $400 a month just for myself. So I'm just thinking everything cool, you know, like, okay, I'm getting my food stamps. Nothing happened, you know. So I decided to come on TikTok and tell people, like, if you're trying to get food stamps, you can lie to them and you know, nothing will happen. What y'all saying, because a lot of people saying you have lashes on, why you need food stamps? I don't care. If it's free, I want it. Baby, food is way expensive, and if I go in Walmart with $100, I'm really not going to leave out with nothing. Who want to keep spending money on food? Like, it's just too much. And it was like, we have a report that you have been putting false information on your application to get food stamps, and that you're not homeless, and that you do have a job. So I'm like, okay, who did you get this information from? So it was like, well, we cannot disclose any information about who we got it from, but we have facts that you have been lying, and you have to pay all of that back, and your balance is $35,000. And they also told me that they was filing charges on me. When I made the video and posted on TikTok, like 15 minutes later, the police came knock on my door. Yeah. Was I wrong for doing that? Yes. But at the end of the day, I did what I did, and I don't give a damn. Y'all nobody to judge me, but I did what I had to do at that point, because baby, food is expensive. But I bonded it out 5 hours later, and I have to go to court. They didn't see me at court date yet, but I did what I did, so now I gotta face the consequences.
So when they say there was major fraud, there was major fraud, and now 42 million people are going to have to reapply for food stamps. Now, who does this hurt? Of course, it hurts the taxpayers. It hurts, because your money is being spent in ways that it shouldn't be spent, which the government does that anyway, but neither here nor there. But it's also going to hurt the single moms, the ones who really, truly need it. My daughter around there watching Walking Dead sound like, and my Connie Corso probably around there like, what is going on? I'm still a puppy. Why you got me watching this? But yeah, it's a lot happening. It's late, y'all, so I get a little giddy when it's late. But check these videos out here and note if you are in need of assistance, apply for help if that's what you need. If you need help, apply for help, That's what it's there for. But if they, if you can't get it, don't force it. Don't lie and apply. Don't apply and lie, because you feel like, well, they stealing from us, so let me steal from them. And that was her thing. She said, they stealing from us, so let me steal from them.
Listen up. So, y'all, I was at Sam's Club the other day getting groceries like normal. I was doing the scan and go, getting ready to check out. And it's telling me that I only got $6.01 in my account. And I was like, no way. I literally just got a deposit on the 13th. So I went and checked the app, and lo and behold, y'all, look at this. Y'all, somebody in Windy City Food Market, Chicago, swiped my card for hundreds of dollars. They even flagged it in the app.
Warm smile. What police say 57-year-old Nadine Jean-Baptiste did Rhode Island for over a decade. She supervised customer service assistants and had full access to EBT printing machines there. For 4 years, police say Nadine accessed people's personal information. She then went in and changed their PIN numbers so that she could use their cards. 408 of them since January 2020. Here she is in June 2024, leaving a local market after using somebody else's EBT card. In July, she conducted 3 phone balance inquiries on another EBT card before going on a food run at a Stop and Shop. And here she is again at BJ's. The card she was using belonged to a man that was in jail. And she didn't do it alone. Police say her daughter, 27-year-old Octavia Jean-Baptiste, was also in on the scheme. They say she fraudulently used 95 EBT cards over the course of their data from the U.S. Department of Agriculture found that over 125,000 households across the nation reported SNAP benefit theft last year. States like New York hit the hardest with $17 million in theft in 2023 alone. This year, Maryland, Illinois, Texas, Georgia are also up there. These Romanian nationals were charged back in April, accused of installing skimming devices at ATMs and cash registers.
I heard this lady finna get 10 to 15 years in prison for food stamp fraud. Apparently, they got proof of who is defrauding the system, and they coming to locking people up. So the ones that be on Facebook and Instagram and all that talk about how you got stamps and how you just did this and this, they're coming for you. Y'all really think that these people don't see where these food stamps is really going? You think they're just giving y'all food stamps and not keeping track? Boy, they finna do a sweep, just like for the PPP loans, just like them drops y'all was doing. A lot of people feel like just because the local police ain't catch them and, you feel me, they ain't went to jail yet, that ain't nothing gonna happen. Sometimes the government sit back and let you do 10 years worth of bad stuff and then bring that rap sheet to the state and say, yo, this is what we want. They've been doing this for 10 years. Give them 10 years. Y'all better, boy.
SNAP benefits took my entire tax refund. Then they go and say, well, it was due to an overpayment that they did in 2021 during the pandemic, and it was documented as a human error. I said, what? He said, documented as a human error. She goes and says, yeah, but there's nothing we could do about it because you signed a contract that stated any problems or issues with the application, I'm going to still be at fault for it. I'm not going to lie, I feel some type of way. I feel targeted. I feel like something personal. Someone in the office was like, oh, nope, she's going to pay all this back, something. How dare you end without warning?
What? How can you feel targeted? They don't just make shit up. So here's a little bit of information that you may or may not know. The government knows how much money you have. Okay. Even if you don't report it, if you try to falsify documents, if you try to inaccurately report to the IRS for your taxes, you're trying to not report everything that you're making to the state, they know how much money you have. They do. They know. They know. So there's something about your application that was flagged, and now you have to repay.
A black woman is facing 10 years in prison and a $250,000 penalty. Do you know why? Because she used her food stamps to buy ingredients for a bake sale. I thought this case was so unreal, I had to look it up. Her name is Talia Taniqua, and she was arrested in August of this year. Investigators were able to link her Facebook post advertising the baked goods to her EBT charges. This is what you call surveillance, mass surveillance, and it is the same surveillance that U.S. companies and corporations are investing heavily in. This is what you call also military AI. It is the same military AI and surveillance programs that these companies are investing in and using on Palestinians in Gaza and in the West Bank and people in Lebanon. Do you see how all these struggles are intertwined? But I digress. I want to go back to this particular story, because this woman is literally trying to pull herself out of the position she is in, and she is being punished. And that is because the system is designed against her. And what's so funny is that yesterday I was watching a video of Gisele Bündchen. She was giving an interview, and she was saying how when she was 19 years old, she was named Model of the Year. And all of a sudden, she was getting flown out on first class. And what she was doing with these first class tickets was that she was trading them in and actually sitting in coach. And then with the rest of the money, she was saving it to buy and own an apartment or a house or something. And I thought about this because both of these women are essentially doing the same thing. They're taking something that was given to them to improve their lives, right? And then they went on to invest it. But the difference here is that one of these women are being punished for it, whereas the other woman is being rewarded for it. Obviously, Gisele Bündchen went on to be a, extremely successful, model, and she's a multimillionaire. Whereas this woman right now is literally being punished for trying to get herself out of poverty. If this doesn't radicalize you, I don't know what can. I really wanted to highlight this case because, every day I come online and there's some fake ass motivational speaker who will be like, you're fat, ugly, and poor because you're not working hard enough. And it's just like, no, the system is actually designed against some people because that is how capitalism thrives. It needs people to be struggling at the bottom. There are so many people who are trying to get themselves out of the situation that they are in, and the system is literally holding them back. And it is so important for us to acknowledge that that is what capitalism does.
Here's to the good days, here's to the sorrows. this is a mistake. I know about tomorrow. I don't wanna fight no more, cause I don't feel the need no more, no. Just wanna make it stop. Maybe it's something in the water.